Right, in this we're going to be looking at a practice test for Year 9 mathematicians, and we'll be concentrating mainly on indices and some algebra. So let's get on into this. To start off with, we've got to simplify a times b times a times a times b. And we group the a's together, so we've got the a times the a times the a, so that's a cubed when we times those together. And b times b will give us b squared. And we don't need to write the times in between these two. When we're simplifying this, we group the numbers. So we get 3 times 5, and we get a squared times a cubed. With this, we add the indices. So you get a to the 5, and the 3 times 5 is 15. So you get 15. Add the indices, you get 5, a to the 5. We want to simplify this. So we have the 12 divided by 3, put the numbers together. We have the a squared divided by a to the 4. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. And a squared divided by a to the 4, might take away the indices because we're dividing. So we get a to the minus 2. Moving on. So we get 2 into 12 will leave us 6. Put that down. And we get a to the 5 divided by a gives us a to the 4. Take away the indices because a is just a to the 1. B to the 6 divided by b to the 2. That is 6 minus 2. So we get b to the 4. Right, moving on. So we want to simplify 5a to the 4 to the power of 3. But to do that, we need to do the 5 to the power of 3 as well as the a to the 4 to the power of 3. Very common mistake is to miss powering the 5. 5 to the 3 gives us 5, 25, 125. A to the 4 to the 3. When you've got power of a power, we multiply the indices. So we get a to the 12. Now we want to find the value of n in this case. So what we do is first of all, we need to simplify the left-hand side. So we're going to get 5 to the n times 5 to the 8 will give us 5 to the n plus 8 because we add those indices. So this is the same as 5 to the 7 over 5 to the n plus 8, and that equals 5 to the 4. Now we're going to subtract the indices here. So you've got 7 minus n minus 8, or 7 minus 8 is minus 1. So what we get on the left-hand side is we get 5 to the n minus 1. When you do 7 minus 8, you get minus 1, and we've got the n equals 5 to the 4. So n minus 1 must equal 4. So n must equal 5. Write down the reciprocal of 3. Reciprocal means put 1 over the number. We'll do 1 divided by the number is more accurate. So it's 1/3. Write 1/16 for the power of 2m. Well, we know that 16 to the power of 2 is 2, 4, 8, 16 is 2 to the power of 4. 1 over means we have a minus power. That's the same as 2 to the minus 4. So you've got 1 over a power, make the power negative, and you can remove the 1 over. We want to expand this expression. So we do the 3a times the 2a will give me 6a squared, because you've got 3 times 2 is 6. A times a is a squared. 3a times 5 will just give me 15a. So we want to expand and simplify this following expression. So we've got to do 5 times 2a plus 7. So 5 times 2a is 10a. 5 times 7 is 35. Minus 6 times 5 is minus 30. Minus 6 times minus a will give me plus 6a. Be very careful with your signs here. So 10a plus 6a is 16a. 35 minus 30 is 5. If u equals minus 2, a equals 10, t equals 3, work out this formula. So we're going to get s equals u is 2, times t, which is 3, plus a half, a is 10, and t is 3, so we have 3 squared. So that gives us 6, half of 10 is 5, times by 3 squared. We must do the power before we times, so that gives us 9. So that's 45. Then we do the times first, then add the 6. 45 plus 6 gives us 51. Okay, question 14. If p equals 20 and a equals minus 5, work out the value of b using this formula. So let's put the numbers in. So we've got 20 equals, put minus 5 in, so we've got minus 5 all squared times by b. Minus 5 all squared is minus 5 times minus 5, which gives us 25. So we get 20 equals 25b. So therefore b is equal to 20 divided by 25. So b equals 20 divided by 25. When you cancel that down, you get 4/5. 5 goes into the top 4 times. 5 goes into the bottom 5 times to leave us 4/5. If you just put that into your calculator and press equals, it will give you the cancelled version anyway. 4a plus 5 equals 11, so take away 5 from this side, we're just left with 4a. Take a 5 away from this side and we're left with 6. Divide by 4, we get 6/4. Now it doesn't say we have to simplify it, but if you press equals on your calculator, it will cancel that down because 2 goes into that 3 times, 2 goes into that 2 times. So a will equal 3/2. Multiplying out the brackets on both sides. Don't always multiply out the brackets when you do this, because sometimes you can just divide out, but 3 doesn't go into 5, so there's no point dividing. So let's multiply out these brackets. We get 3 times. So let's multiply out these brackets. We get 3 times 2a is 6a, and we get plus 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times minus a is minus 5a. Right, I'm going to get my a's on this side. Always like to make my a the letter positive. So I'm going to add 5a to this side, add 5a to this side. I get 11a plus 15 equals 10. Take 15 away from both sides. So I get 11a equals minus 5. So a will equal minus 5/11. Divide both sides by 11. So minus 5/11 is my answer here. Right, we're going to make t the subject of the formula v equals u plus at. So what we do is we undo the last thing we do to t. So let's get rid of this u first. So let's do v minus u. Take u away from this side. We must take it away from that side. Leaves us at. We're timesing by a, so therefore we divide by a to undo that. So therefore t will equal v minus u over a. Make u the subject of this. So what I'm going to do to start off with, I'm going to get rid of this half by timesing by 2. So I get 2s equals u plus vt. And then I'm going to divide by t because that's the last thing you're doing to the u. So I get 2s over t equals u plus v. And then I subtract v from both sides. So I get 2s over t minus v equals u. So u will equal 2s over t minus v. There are other ways to do this question. You can do it in different orders. That is one way of doing it. Right, we're going to expand and simplify these brackets. I recommend the FOIL method. There's lots of methods. They're all fine. This stands for first, outer, inner, last. So we're going to times the first two things together. 3a times 2a is 6a squared. Outer two things, 3a times minus 1 is minus 3a. Inner two things, 5 times 2a is going to be 10a. Last two things, 5 times minus 1 is minus 5. Group these two together because they have a and a in them. You can't group the a squared because you have a different power, and you can't group the 5 because there's no a in it. So we get 6a squared. Add these two together, we get plus 7a minus 5. Right, on this one, we're going to expand two of the brackets first. So let's do the first two first. So we're going to get 2a plus 1 times a plus 2. Use our FOIL to help us. 2a times a is 2a squared. Outer two things gives me 4a. Inner two things just gives me a. Last two things just gives me 2. So I've got equals 2a squared plus 5a plus 2. But I want to now times that by 2a minus 1. So 2a minus 1 times by 2a squared plus 5a plus 2. Times, when you got to this stage, we can't use FOIL anymore. You can only do it with this when you've got 2 in one bracket and 2 in one bracket is when you do FOIL. Now we've got 3 in this bracket, we need to just times everything in this by the first thing, then times everything by the second thing. That would work for doing this as well, if you want to have a uniform method of doing these things. So 2a times 2a squared is 4a cubed. 2a times 5a is plus 10a squared. 2a times 2 is plus 4a. Minus 1 times minus 2a is minus 2a squared. Minus 1 times plus 5a is minus 5a. Minus 1 times plus 2 is minus 2. And then we group the like things. So we're going to group the a squareds together, and we're going to group the a's together. So we get as our final answer 4a cubed is all on its own because there's no other cubed. 10a squared minus 2a squared is 8a squared. 4a minus 5a is minus a minus 2 on the end. Right, we're going to factorise this one. When factorising, we look for the highest thing that goes into both terms. So what goes into both terms? Well, 3 goes into 12 and 3 goes into 15. So we take out the factor 3. 3 times 4a is what gives us the 12a. So we write 4a here. Plus 3 times 5 will give us the 15. So when you multiply out the brackets, we must get the same thing. Factorising this, we can see that 2 and a go into both terms. So let's take 2a out. So we've got 2a taken out. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. A squared divided by a is just a. If you times these together, we get 6a squared. What do we times 2a to get 8a? We need to times that by 4. And we can see there are no more common factors in the middle here. Okay, let's factorise these. Now, when you've got these quadratic factorisings, we're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to give you this and add to give you this. So what 2 numbers multiply to give you 6? We could have 1 and 6, or we can have 2 and 3. We can see that the 2 and 3 combine to give me 5. So what we're going to have a plus 2 and a plus 3. 3 times 2 is 6. Do a times 3 and a times 2, that will give me my 5a. We can always check our answers out by multiplying out. So we're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to give me minus 6, but combined to give me 5. Now 2 and 3 won't work, and minus 2 and minus 3 won't work. They could be both positive values for minus 6. But if I could either have minus 2 and 3, or 2 and minus 3, but neither of these are going to combine to give me 5. But if I do 6 and minus 1, if you add those together, we get 5. So we're going to have a plus 6, a minus 1 as my factors here. 6 times a minus 1 times a gives me minus a. Combine those, I'll get the 5a I need. The 6 times the minus 1 will give me the minus 6 to check. Okay, so let's do this one. We've got minus 8, and we want to find numbers that multiply to give us minus 8, but combine to give us minus 2. And straight off the top of my head, I've got minus 4 and 2 as my 2 numbers. I can add these 2, and they give me minus 2. So what I'm going to have is a minus 4 and a plus 2. We can check it by multiplying out. Minus 4a plus 2a gives me the minus 2a I need. Minus 4 times 2 gives me the minus 8. And the a times the a gives me the a squared. This one, 2 numbers multiplied to give me 15, but combined to give me minus 8 are minus 3 and minus 5. You can see they add to give me minus 8, and the times together to give me plus 15. So I get a minus 3, a minus 5. A squared minus 9. So we've got 2 numbers that multiply to give me minus 9, but combine to give me 0. Well, 3 and minus 3, so minus 3 and 3 will multiply to give me minus 9. Add them together, we get 0. So this is a minus 3, a plus 3. And this is called the difference of 2 squareds. If you have something that looks like a squared minus b squared, it always factorizes to a plus b, a minus b. In this case, my b is going to be 3, because 3 squared is 9. And you notice I've got a plus 3, a minus 3 as my 2 factors. Notice the order doesn't matter. So you could actually write a plus 3, a minus 3 on this, and it will still give you the same answer. Order never matters on any of these double bracket factorizations. Okay, our last question here, fully factorize this. So let's take out a 5 first, because we've got a common factor of 5 in both. You always take your common factors out first. So that leaves us a squared minus 16. Now this is a square number. So minus 4 times plus 4 will give me minus 16, but they'll also give me the 0 I need in the middle for the a. So I'm going to have 5, open brackets, a minus 4, a plus 4. Okay, because this is the same as a squared minus 4 squared. So we can just use exactly the same idea to solve this problem. And there you go, that's your revision for your first test of the year.